Ekam, you've been with us from November 2023. So this has been a great journey. I mean, that's now kind of like 18 months with us now, which is, well, one thing I like is because when I speak to a coach that's been with us 18 months, you're a long game minded coach. You know, this isn't going to happen overnight, but the journey that you've been on has been pretty transformational. And so the reason I wanted to have a call with you is to talk through the journey, because you've come from Coaching Concierge Build all the way through down to Coaching Concierge Scale. So in this video, well, this call, what I'd like to do is to discover a little bit about what journey was like at the beginning of CCB, what it was like, what made you why we ended up transitioning into Scale. And then talk about what we did in terms of the model, and then have a look at what the outcome was for you. So, for us here, where were you at the beginning of your CCB journey when you first came on board with us?
I think I was at a point where I've had my business since 2018, and I felt like I did well to build it up from there. However, I hit a point where I was stuck.
Yeah.
And we had peaks in the business, but then we had dips. And I was very stressed about money. I was very stressed about the business. I didn't have confidence with myself. And I felt like it was a very up and down journey. There wasn't enough stability, whether emotionally, mentally, even just physically with the business.
So I think with a lot of coaches, I see that there's a direction that I want to go. There was quite a few things could you identify them? Like there were quite a few things that were kind of out of balance for you. There was some way that you wanted to get to. Had you self-diagnosed yourself as what you think you knew you needed to do?
I think I was also just being a bit ignorant as well. Like, I knew there were different things I could have done, and I was choosing not to do it. Perhaps I wanted to stick to what I knew best. A part of me wasn't willing to take the initiative to grow, but also I was in my own head a lot. I would compare myself to other people, other businesses, other coaches, but I also was in a place where I was like, okay, but what am I going to do something about this? So I was kind of stuck. And I think there was a lot of growth that needed to be done mentally as well as with the business.
And what was your kind of perspective of mentoring at the time? Had you had it before? Was that keeping you on the fence from doing anything?
I think for me, I'd never had mentoring. I'd seen it a lot. Because of the way my business had grown by itself, it did quite well at the beginning, just through social media, that I felt like I didn't need it. Again, potentially pride, ego. I felt like I was fine. I then decided to try a mentor out, but you and I had actually spoken before that.
Yeah.
And I tried to go for someone that was probably, maybe the quality wasn't the best, but cost-wise, it may have been cost-wise, it was kind of a choice. I was like, okay, let me try this and see, because I don't know how it's going to go. And it didn't really hit the nail on the head with the problems that I had. It was very generic. And then when I finished that, you and I had another call, and then I realized this is what I need. And we really pinned down the issues that I was having in terms of what I needed to do with the business and what I didn't need to do. You gave me that kind of push and direction of this is where I think that you're at, and this is what you need to do. And I needed someone to kind of give me that accountability and really look at my business in depth. We had a call before, and then we had that second call, and it just made me really understand, okay, no, this is the level of help and support that I need.
Great. Well, that's amazing. And now, I mean, it's interesting because you've actually gone all the way through to our Scale program. And I love this kind of transition. When we got to a point we started our journey in Coaching Concierge Build, and I do want us to fast track into Scale as well, because I think this story's got so much to unpack with it. But in Coaching Concierge Build, some people need everything, right? They need every part of the foundations building, and that's what it's there for. But you came in and were very quick to identify what was working. So I think you said to me it was the brand that was nailed. We got clients, we got a reputation. What was missing, and what did we implement? Because some people go, I feel I need everything. And it's like, but if you only need one or two things and that moves the needle, that's what you need. So what was that?
For me, I think it was all the sales side, the outreach, creating conversations, nurturing relationships, and actually having those initial discovery calls. the whole sales aspect, a part of me, I guess, didn't want to do, but part of me didn't even know how to do. Because for us, we were quite lucky that a lot of our business was built on inbound.
Yeah.
But naturally, this dips over time. You're going to have highs and lows throughout the year with this. And sales that was my main struggle. And I think that was what was stopping me from growing. And then joining Build made me realize, oh, I have to do the thing that I kind of didn't want to do, but it's actually the thing that's going to help me thrive.
And just to give some context, your business model at the time when you started Build was you were a PT working at home, and you had 2 trainers working at home out of the facility at home, right?
Yeah, so we had a private studio, which I had 2 PTs working from, and then I was doing all the online coaching.
Cool. So at the time of starting the journey, how many online clients did you have?
40, 45?
Yeah. So it was an established business, fundamental. But this is funny, right? 40, 45, it's an established business. People are like, why do you need mentoring? But you had a vision for the next level. And I remember saying to you, like, let's get you in Build. Let's teach you the fundamentals. There's no need to move into scale. So the model we essentially looked at was, and I think people overcomplicate it with paid ads and complicated funnels. I don't mind saying this to you right now. The money that you were missing and the clients you were missing was doing the stuff that you didn't want to do, getting uncomfortable with sales and getting uncomfortable with learning conversational skills. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then within 4 or 5 months, you and we had a conversation, and it was like, you're at a place now where you need a little bit more direct support. And we also adapted the vision, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that transition in 4 or 5 months from Build enabled you then, by getting great with sales, great with your DM setting, DM outreach, to then move into the scale. What was the transition from Build to scale? The kind of the model that we looked at, and what's giving you the most kind of growth from a scaling perspective now? So I think you discussed the vision, right?
Yeah, I think once we had figured out the pain points of the business and I'd worked in those areas and Build, and we saw the numbers start to fly much higher, then we realized, okay, now what? And I had to sit and really think about my vision, because I didn't know where it could go. And we spoke about the business, about my life, what I want for my future. And when we went into scale, it was like, okay, you're kind of at full capacity with online. What's the next step? And I think, again, the biggest thing here is all the accountability, because the accountability I got from the sales perspective in Build was what I needed to grow. And then the accountability I needed of sometimes even just reassurance of this is the right step to take for your business is what allowed me to grow the team and grow the business even more. So last year when we went into scale, I think, we had 2 PTs and myself.
Yeah.
And then last year we ended up hiring a 3rd PT and 2 more online coaches.
Wow.
So by the end of last year, we went from 2 coaches and myself to 5 coaches and myself.
Wow. I love that. Now that you said something quite interesting, right? Because when people think of scaling a business, the first thing they think is crazy funnels, crazy ads, and it's got to be all crazy. It's got to be all crazy. But the reality is, what you actually needed was Build was not going to be able to help you build a team, build the company structure, but you needed that accountability and this is why I have mentorship. What's my next thing? And I think you've articulated this. Scale isn't just about scaling the business. It's just always having that reassurance of what's the next thing. Because for somebody like you, we talked about it off the camera recording here, it's knowing what the next thing is. And I think from a mentoring perspective, if it's giving you the next thing, then revenue is going to be inevitable, right? So we got the coaches on board. What was it within the kind of scalability side of stuff that's given you the kind of the most level of growth? Because you've really catapulted from Build, even in scale now, things are continuing to move forward. Is it still the quality of the results and service and the reputation you're bringing in?
Yeah, I think we've built such an amazing reputation within our area in London, plus word of mouth and worldwide. And I think it's just our niche as well of working with South Asian women. With me and all my coaches, I've made sure we have all walked the walk. We practice what we preach. And that's such an important aspect, as well as having certain skills to build relationships with our clients. So yes, we've excelled and scaled based on our results and our clients, but it's also the team that I have, the type of coaches that we are, the community that we have built of bringing women together. We have done so many events as well that has allowed us to scale through last year. And I think even part of it is my own growth that I've had to learn to even allow the brand and the team to grow the way we have. Like, I've had to really work on myself, which I've just actually naturally picked up through the mentorship.
Yeah.
Skills that I picked up that I didn't even realize. When I did our community day last year, I got so many compliments about the way I was speaking, how presentable I was. But all I could think is I probably learned that from all the London lives that I've seen you do. But I skills that I didn't realize I'd picked up, which have allowed me to come across so much better as like the face of the business and what we stand for and who we are.
You know, what you've just said epitomizes what I try and communicate. Our scale program is a leadership and entrepreneurial program, right? If that means we help you mature as a business owner, that's part of the scaling process. If that means we help you become a better leader and a better teacher to your team and become stable under pressure, that's part of entrepreneurship. But the better you become as an entrepreneur, the more money you'll make, because clients stay longer, people trust you more, people buy into you more. And I think people are very, very quick to think that scaling is just about the money, but it's also giving you a quality of life. So we'll unpack this in a minute, but just to kind of look at this build to scale transition, it's been a journey by the sounds of it. And you articulate this in your own words, if you want, of doing the stuff that you didn't want to do, leveling up as a leader and constantly pushing yourself beyond to a new vision every single time. And at every type of level that you've got to, there's always something else to work on. And it's a case of always being given the next best thing. Does that align with what we've discussed?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had this skill set and mindset of never being complacent. So once I hit a goal, I'm like, okay, what next? Which I think is what aligns me really well to the mentorship, because I'm getting the support that I need to then thrive to that next step. When you're by yourself, it's hard to really know. The same way, we may future pace our clients with their goals, the same way having the mentorship helps me to future pace of what more can I do? Where can I spread my wings to? What avenues can I go down? Because it's that level of knowledge and education where you can constantly learn, like, that we don't have. But we're learning that experience through you guys and through the other mentors in the program. So I think it's a skill set that I don't know if everyone has, but it's a great skill set to have as a coach and a business owner, to never be complacent, always thriving for more. And I think that's what has allowed me to work so well with the business and Coaching Concierge.
Love that. Love that. Well, listen, let's talk results. This is really important for people to learn. You came to us initially to develop the sales, develop the systems. Off the back of that, you've then developed your team, leadership, structure, run community events, retained people very, very well, increasingly got fantastic results. Where was the business when you started CCB? And where is it now in terms of revenue, in terms of client numbers?
So client numbers, I would say maybe we were on 60, 65 between PT and online.
Yeah.
Revenue, I would say we were not hitting 10K. I would say we were maybe around a 6, 7K a month.
Yeah.
Between both. And then when I joined Build, that was November. With the Christmas period and everything, I think my first or second month in Build, we were hitting 8, 9K. And then by month 4 or 5, I had done a few months of 10K revenue between PT and online. Where the business is now is we have over 100 clients between PT and online, probably around 110, 115. And the most revenue that we had made was about between 31 to 33K.
Wow. And what are you averaging now across the board?
I'd say around 25 at the moment.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Huge progress and growth. And the team now, on top of everybody else that's working for you, whether it's administration or everything, what's that look like now? So you've got the 2 online coaches, 3 PTs.
So we have some of my coaches do hybrid, so they will do PT and online.
Yeah.
Altogether, we are currently hiring for our 6th or 7th coach now. So again, who's going to be doing PT and online. So we've got 2, 3 PTs, 3, 4 online coaches. I get my coaches to also help from the admin side. So one of my coaches does a mix of PT. She also does a bit of my admin and my DMs and stuff. So actually, it's just the coaches that I have on the team, but they all have different roles. So it's not just coaching they do, but it's kind of like multiple streams of income, which I find works really well for them in terms of gives them a variety.
Love that. That's amazing. Now, one way I like to finish anything like this is to just give your lessons to any coach that's watching this. It just comes from your perspective, something you picked up, 2 lessons since you've been on this journey.
Accountability is key,
Yeah.
especially to striving and to thrive in your career and your business, and work hard, play hard.
Now, talk to me about the work hard, play hard. I love this.
My business is my baby and I will never stop working. It's just how I am. But last year was the best year we have ever had from a team, client, revenue perspective. And that was also the most I had traveled in my whole life. I think I traveled about 8, 9 times last year while still having an amazing year in terms of the business and the brand. Like I didn't have to lose out. I had a good balance of knowing how to put my head down and work, but also knowing what my mind and body needs in terms of having an unwind, a reset to then be able to give more and give better.
Love that. Well, I mean, that's a lot for people to take away. And there's a reason why you scale, right? You scale to be able to have the profit, have the quality of life, enjoy yourself, but also work hard at the same time. I just want to say a huge thank you to you because this is going to help a lot of coaches have a perspective that, they probably think that scaling and building a business is the most complex thing, but what you've just showed is consistency, is being prepared to challenge your vision and do the uncomfortable stuff and then reach out for some help and have accountability. And, yes, there's a lot of other things that are involved in that, but the fundamentals speak for themselves. So, Ekam, you're a star. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.